Welcome back, family, to the South Florida Recruiting Report. Marcus Benjamin here, representing for Rivals.com. And as always, we bring you news regarding South Florida recruiting. High school football is in the playoffs right now, and signing day is upon us. It's coming up on Wednesday, December 3rd, and the early signing period is going to be open until December the 5th to that Friday. And we're rolling into the semifinals here in the Florida State playoffs. And to discuss it all, I've got my guy, Andy Villamarzo, who represents for Rivals High School. Thanks for joining me today here on a lovely Tuesday.
Yeah, lovely. If you like dreary weather, at least over here in the Tampa Bay area, it's kind of cloudy. Got some lightning strike updates, so I don't know. Sounds like it's not going to be so sunny in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, it's always kind of rainy on that side for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think that's why they named the team the Lightning, the hockey team or whatnot. Back in the day, they used to have the Storm, the arena football team. I don't know if that's still a thing, by the way, but I feel like that's the reason why they named those teams that. But anyways, it's National Signing Day Eve, and I'm excited because there's plenty to talk about, including performances here in the playoffs. And you've been out in the field, and so have I as well. I've actually just came back from Tampa, visiting family in that area, so I did have a chance to attend a high school football game up there, which was Tampa Jesuit and Port Charlotte. And uh, there were many players that kind of impressed me throughout this high school playoffs. But I do want to start with you, Andy, because you have been to a few games, and you've been kind of watching, just performances here in the state of Florida. So, who has impressed you so far in these playoffs?
Well, I mean, I feel like there's a long list. There's a long list of kids that have really just played really well throughout the playoffs. Someone that had a huge performance this past week is Canale Jackson out of Cardinal Mooney. He junior running back. He rushed for 351 yards on 24 carries in a 49-29 win over Lakewood out of St. Petersburg. So, I mean, gotta throw that out there because it's a recent performance, but you know, not exactly on everybody's radar. But the Jackson kid has been really standing out the last couple years for the Cougars. So definitely a player to kind of keep an eye on. Somebody that you just saw, Elias Pearl. I got to see him during the regular season against Venice. Port Charlotte, lost the game 27-20, but I thought that was a good, barometer of where Port Charlotte is at as a team. And then also Pearl to do it against Venice's defense, which is vastly improved compared to last year, where it seemed like they were kind of regularly giving up 40 points or more a game. I mean, this year, playing a lot better defensively, and his performance against them, to me, just showed against a better defensive unit what he can do potentially on the next level. So, for him to have that just unbelievable catch, the go-ahead touchdown, and the touchdown that set up the go-ahead points, let's say, because they had to still get the 2-point conversion. But, I mean, I don't know. You're going to have to walk me through that whole situation. To me, I talked to people. They said they were leaving the game, and, it was 21-14. They thought Jesuit won the game, and, somehow Port Charlotte comes away miraculously with a win. So, to me, that's wild to hear about, that people were leaving that were on the side of the winning team because they had thought they were going to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds
yeah.
like
Let me kind of give my take on that whole game. It was kind of Yeah, it was kind of a snooze fest at first, because it was just a 6-0 game. Will Griffin was able to kind of get into the end zone right before the half, and then um, it, they missed the extra point, so 6-0. And then what was very interesting here is that they got the ball back with, like, I want to say maybe 16 seconds left or something like that before the half, and then you would think they would just take a knee, especially with the given how the game was going, right? They would just take a knee, but no, they actually tried to score. So fast forward to when it was, let's say it's 21, it was 21-7, I believe, and Elias Pearl, excellent player, ran in for a touchdown in a wildcat formation, and then it was 21-14 when Port Charlotte scored again. And then I think it was about maybe around 3 minutes left or so, like that. And Will Griffin was churning out some big runs, getting some first downs, running the clock out. Then it comes to fourth down, and they get this first down. This game is clearly over. We're actually watching highlights of Connell Jackson. I see what you're talking about in this talent, by the way. He's really explosive. So Will Griffin, the Gator commit 2026 quarterback, fumbles the football on the fourth down, and so it was a turn. It would be a turnover and downs anyway. This is about midfield, so it's like I said, it's 21-14, and then Luke Flaherty throws a bomb to Elias Pearl. He catches it, touchdown. I want to say maybe it was 16 or seconds left. You'd think they would go for the extra point to tie the game and take that game into overtime, but no, they decide to go for two. And Elias Pearl from the Wildcat formation once again. This time, instead of running it, he kind of fakes the run and does a little pop pass to the tight end with a 2 point conversion with 16 or so seconds left, 22-21 to score. Jesuit does get the ball back, but unable to do anything with it, and game over. It was one of the more thrilling games that I've been to in high school, man. You missed a good one out there in Tampa, for sure.
Man, well, I mean, I'd say just hearing that whole sequence, yeah, that to me just kind of mind-boggling. That yeah, I would think just punt the ball away, just punt the ball away, and let your defense, force them to drive the length of the field. I mean, I get it. All you need is a couple yards
Yep.
or a yard in their case to close it
Yeah.
out, but sometimes I feel like overthinking definitely costs coach. I mean, heck, what was that with Coach Cristobal in Miami? The what was that with the Georgia Tech game? I believe, or that's the infamous call. He decided to run the ball and end up losing the game because of a turnover.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, but he can't shake that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those decisions like you're your hero or your zero. So yeah, you gotta come through. A performance I'm seeing here that and just because of their backfield, I'd be remiss if I didn't. Tremaine Mullen, sophomore for American Heritage, 158 yards in that kind of a revenge game against Archbishop McCarthy. They lost him in the regular season, get to face him in a region final and a rematch, and um, I mean to go off for 158 and you got Jonathan Bueno on the team. I mean, he I don't know what happened with his kind of carry production. He was just held to 5 carries, 37 yards rushing, but Mullen with a big game for the Patriots. So I mean, probably not a name that a lot of people in the state know of. Obviously, Bueno, people have heard of from his time at True North, and then this season at American Heritage. But I mean, hey, I predicted before the season started we're going to get Jones American Heritage again, and we're just one step away from that happening. But Heritage is going to have to travel quite a ways to make that happen. We're going to have to go up to the Panhandle and face Chakatawachi all the way up in the
I'm glad you
all.
pronounced that. I've been struggling with that for a while.
Yeah, over at Fort Walton Beach. Yeah. Well, I could have just said, well, the Indians of Fort Walton Beach, or they shorten it up and just say Choctaw. That's usually what people say. But I thought I'd take a stab at it, Choctawachi. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're
watching highlights of Eli Pearl. That was the game that I just described there. It didn't have the highlight of him throwing the 2 point conversion, but it
gonna,
opened with his catch that led to the go ahead score.
yeah,
But this
and
is his regular season highlights. Um, yeah, he's been outstanding. He's definitely a guy I want to see at the rivals camp coming up in Miami. He seems like he could blossom into a really big time talent. On my side of things, as far as performances go, um, I have to kind of go back here and really kind of think about different performances from the playoffs. So far, it feels like all a blur all of a sudden. But George Harris, 2027 defensive back slash linebacker, I thought it was really impressive. Against St. Andrews a couple of weeks back, had 2 interceptions. I think just a solid defender overall. I feel like he's going to continue to blossom into a really great player. Of course, Derek Cooper at Chaminade had a solid performance against Edison a couple of weeks back, scoring multiple touchdowns. He's just really explosive. Once he puts his foot in the ground, he seems like he's just automatically going to get into the end zone. So I was really impressed with him as well. I thought Zach Katz, quarterback for True North, was pretty decent as well. I liked his performance against once again against St. Andrews, and then the plantation kids. I believe like they've got like maybe 4 or 5 guys that I think can really legitimately be big time players down the line. Desmond Christian had a 3 touchdown performance, one on defense with a pick six that I think went 96 yards. Zachary Johnson, the quarterback, I think, and also defensive back. All those guys play both ways. I thought was really impressive as well. And Jamari Foreman, another impressive plantation player, I thought was really solid. Had an interception as well in that game against Dillard. He was quite impressive as well. So those are really kind of the top performers so far for me. Where any other guys for you, Andy?
I mean, I feel like at this stage of the postseason, the guys that we kind of expect to show out are showing out. I don't know if anybody's is kind of like having breakout performances that are like, wow, I never really knew of this kid until he just started to kind of show up on the scene here in the playoffs. But you look around the state and you're thinking of guys who are trying to make that name for themselves. And I don't know if anybody, to me, in my opinion, I feel like the guys who are kind of building on top of what they were doing in the regular season or stepping up for somebody that is not there, I quickly pivot to the quarterback position because the almighty, got to figure out who's doing it behind or under center. You got, I'd say Ephraim White, the Florida State commit. I know we'll kind of touch on him here, but I mean, he's, Champ Mond's one of the top 2028 quarterbacks, made a brief, return. And then he, in the opening round of the playoffs, he had a really nice return, threw for nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then he ended up getting re injured in the Lake Nona game. And Ephraim White,
Hmm.
as the kind of Swiss Army knife as he is, steps right back into the quarterback position, and it's almost like nothing happened. They're just they're rolling here. They went with White in the region final against Dr. Phillips, won handily 49-23. Now they've got a shot to go to the state championship game this week. They'll take on Miami Palmetto, and that to me that's going to be an interesting game. See how that kind of plays out, but the Davin Davidson kid, I've mentioned him before in the past. I think he's somebody that is really just kind of continued to improve his stock, in my opinion, just as a passer. I mean, kind of stepped into that position at the beginning of the season as someone that was on a team that already had a quarterback that had led a team to a state championship. I mean, looking at the stats in that Cardinal Mooney Lakewood game, I mean, Devin Midgery, who's a fine high school quarterback, and he's moving on to play college ball himself. So he only threw a pass, and Davidson has become the kind of the full time guy for them. Um, and then you continue to move around the state. I mean, Noah Grubbs, continuing to do Noah Grubbs things. I mean, I thought they were kind of dead in the water. At one point during the season, I said, "There's no way this team gets back to the 7A state championship game." And lo and behold, he must be keeping every receipt in the book, because they go out and they beat DeLand 40-31 this past week in a game that I thought DeLand kind of had. I said, "Man, you're playing with house money. You're at home. This is not the Lake Mary team. I mean, this is a Lake Mary team that lost to Rains, the team that lost to Northwestern 41-3 last year. They lost to them like 51-3 during the season. So that's why I kind of sat back and said, I don't know. I don't think Lake Mary's getting back to the state title game. Now they're one game away. All they got to do is beat Venice at home. This is 7A state title rematch. I mean, easier said than done, but they're gonna have their shot. They're gonna have their shot for revenge, and they're gonna have their shot to get back to the state title game. So a lot for the Notre Dame commit, Grubbs and his guys to kind of think about. But yeah, I think the stars are just being stars, Marcus. So
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's really kind of popping out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. Like most of the guys who were playing, they're balling.
yeah, for sure. A lot of players balling. Calvin Russell had a really impressive game against Miami Central down here in South Florida. Continues to impress on the football field, as well as Nick Lanier as well. Those two guys, arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the entire country. So, it will be interesting to kind of see like what teams will emerge from these semifinal games. And if we have some time, yeah, we can do some predictions at the end here.
Oh
But
yeah.
let's talk a little about signing day though. A couple of names I just kind of want to throw at you as far as players that could sign to different places in which they are committed to. One of which I would I'm gonna start with is well, actually, let's start with Ephraim White. I was just playing his highlights there. Ephraim White, the versatile athlete out of Vero Beach, longtime Florida State commit. He's been pretty much locked in with the Seminoles from the jump. Seminoles ended the season with a dud of a game, getting blown out by their rivals, Florida. They kind of limped through the season after starting out with a bang against winning against Alabama. But NC State is a team that has been involved in his recruitment from the jump here. And from what I hear, he did visit NC State over the weekend and saw the Wolfpack take care of business against North Carolina. You think he sticks with Florida State or flips to the Pack?
I mean, he's been committed to Florida State since I want to say
23.
December, yeah, 2023. So, uh, man, I mean, and this is such a time where you got the window to do it, like or you're given those kind of final thoughts because everything's going to become reality here pretty soon. I think he I think he stays sticks with Florida State. I mean, obviously, you got to do your due diligence. With checking out other, like it's almost like a last call to see like what is out there. I mean, when I think of North Carolina State, I think of when I think of recent guys, at least of the last couple of years, Cedric Bailey, over there, the
for sure.
former Chaminade quarterback, and you got Ephraim White, who's I mean, he's on the fringe South Florida side of things. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, kind of seeing what Cedric's doing over there, and there's plenty other you know Florida-based talent that is over at North Carolina State. So.
Like
Um,
Teddy Hoffman as well from Palm Beach.
Yeah,
Doing some things for NC State.
yeah. I just feel like you've been committed for so long. You've watched probably if you're Ephraim, like a lot of the ups and downs of the Florida State Seminoles. I mean, it's not like yes, the end of the season definitely that getting blown out by Florida certainly didn't help things, but probably hearing that the recommitment to or the commitment to Norvell for another year, somebody that he's obviously he's made his commitment under his watch of the program. I mean, when you see all the movement going on with head coaches right now, I mean, you gotta feel like I want to be somewhere where I know the coach is at least gonna be there. Like he's not moving around. He's not getting fired. I mean, Florida State's given him that verbal at least for another year. I mean, we'll see. Obviously how what the future holds for Coach Norvell, but I think White stays with Florida State.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that he would flip to NC State with this one visit, but you kind of never know, man. You just kind of never
Right.
know with the trajectory of both programs seems to go in different directions there. Um, Also, seem like some programs going into different directions. It's Florida and Ohio State, and both of those programs are battling for CJ Brona, the talented defensive back out of Windermere, four-star guy, visited Ohio State officially in November, but was in attendance at the Swamp for the blowout against Florida State. Do you think he sticks with the Gators now that they got a new coach there, or he flips to Ohio State with a more, I would say, a more stable environment?
I think this one's kind of prime for a flip, just because yeah, you just mentioned it. Like you got Coach Summerall coming from Tulane. A lot of great things being said about him. Obviously, did a great job with the Green Wave over there. Uh, but I mean, how can you ignore just the success that Ohio State has had under Ryan Day, coming off a national championship? Uh, Definitely in position to do so again. I mean, even if they lost to Indiana, they'll still be in the college football playoff. So they'll have a chance to defend their championship. Um, I mean, there's a litany of guys that are up and down that Ohio State roster that are from the Sunshine State. So and have found success, had success beyond the college level. Um, yeah, I think CJ and hey, everybody, full disclosure, don't know, so this is just me going off the hip. I'm just looking at this surface level. I think this would be prime for a flip. I think him flipping to Ohio State just seems like a possibility because Florida, you don't know. You don't know who exactly Coach Summerall wants to go. Kind of. He's got guys that he offered, over at Tulane that he's going to want to have over at Florida. You're seeing it between Penn State and Virginia Tech. A lot of decommits from Penn State, and all of a sudden they're getting offers from Virginia Tech, and they're committing there. So I think you're going to see a similar type deal. Guys, that were getting those Tulane offers, all of a sudden start getting Florida offers, and not that CJ wouldn't have his still, but it's probably like don't really know this coach compared to whatever relationship he was building with the staff that was under Billy Napier.
Yeah, I think this all depends on if the defensive pack coach, Deron Wilson, stays with Florida. Um, and that's still kind of up in the air. If he's not there, then I expect CJ Broner to flip to Ohio State. If he is there, then I think there's a very good likelihood that he stays with the Gators. And I think that's the same case with CJ Hester as well. It's not a guy that, initially wanted to talk about, but CJ Hester, I think, is the same way. Out of talented 4-star out of Cocoa. I think it really all depends on if Deron Wilson, the defensive backs coach out of Florida, stays with the Gators. If not, I expect him to flip to Iowa. So it really kind of depends on these coaches and if they stay. And another player that basically dependent on if this coach stays or not is Adam Bologun Ali, the talented linebacker from Cardinal Newman, committed to Auburn. He's locked in with DJ Durkin. DJ Durkin, the former defensive coordinator at Auburn, is now was the interim coach, but Auburn went with Alex Golish, the USF coach, as their new head coach after firing Hugh Freeze earlier in the season. I think it really all depends on if DJ Durkin stays. Do you think Adam Bologun Ali flips to anywhere but Auburn? The two contenders I'm hearing is Miami and Missouri.
I feel like Miami would be, strong contender just because proximity. I mean, obviously being down there already. Um, I mean, something I noticed in his, uh, you know, Balgonai's offers is he didn't have one from USF. He had one from UCF. He had one, obviously from Miami. When you look at in-state schools, I didn't see one from Alex Golish in the Bull. When he's with the Bulls. So, um, not unsure like why or but to me that's what makes this kind of interesting is you have that coach tie-in with Coach Durkin, and you got to figure, hey, if he leaves, I mean, what what really is keeping Ali there to his commitment at Auburn? I mean, because it's not like he got offered by Golish and USF. So I think if Durkin's out, I think Ali's out. Like he's gonna flip to another school. I mean, Miami. You know, I I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at some of his top contenders. I mean, you mentioned Missouri, obviously a very stable situation there with Coach Drinkwitz. So yeah, I mean Kentucky, they're another team that they're transitioning to a new coach and Will Stein, the offensive coordinator over in at Oregon. So I mean, once again, you're in a kind of similar boat with Auburn. Like, does the new coach want me there? So yeah, I, I'm with you. Durkin goes, Ollie's out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kentucky, I don't think is in it because Ali had a really strong relationship with Mark Stoops, and of course he's now gone. So I don't see him flipping to Kentucky just because of that reason. But Missouri, definitely a stable situation. I would say it's probably a 50-50 situation with Miami. Miami, from what I hear, has been in the most contact with him recently. Watching highlights of him now. That's actually his junior season over there at Benjamin, now at Cardinal Newman. They will take on Chaminade this week. Hopefully we'll have some time to kind of talk about that game a little
Yeah,
bit. Get your prediction on that. But lastly, a couple other names: Denarius Gray. Speaking of Kentucky, Kentucky committed to Chaminade. Well, playing for Chaminade, committed to Kentucky. There's you obviously mentioned that there's some coaching changes there. He visited UCF recently, from what I've been told. which would probably be a good spot for him. Do you think he sticks with the Wildcats or flips to the Knights?
I think he could absolutely flip to the Knights. You look at what Coach Frost is, trying to do over at UCF and keeping as much in-state talent. That was a lot of his playbook the first, in his first time around. Getting somebody like Gray from Chaminade would be a definitely nice win for UCF. I mean, I just think everything over at Kentucky is definitely now all up in the air, especially once again we go back to the coaches are gonna kind of fall back on the guys they're they're used to recruiting and the guys they've already offered. So you got to imagine who Stein was recruiting over at Oregon and the guys that he's going to bring with him from Oregon. They're going to go kind of with those guys that they like. I feel like it just opens up this Pandora's box every school when you're looking at like who may stay and who may go. Once a new coach comes in, I feel like it's almost like an all bets off type deal, unless the coach that was primarily recruiting you, that is a coordinator, ends up staying on board with the new staff. I think that's the kind of the caveat that would keep a player at the school that he committed to. But if that relationship is gone, uh, I mean, what's holding them down there? So this is a whole new, it's going to be a whole new offense. Obviously, Will Stein being the coordinator at Oregon, I mean, he's going to bring in his own style, his own, his guys that he would like, and not to mention, you always got to think about the transfer portal and how much is he going to dig into that. So, yeah, I think Gray's a very if we're grading on high, medium, low confidence of flipping, I think this one would be a high.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Just kind of gonna move quickly there because I don't know. It seems like when I'm talking to you on these podcasts, time just kind of flies by here.
Oh yeah,
So I do kind of want to get you going so you can get back to your day. But let's just discuss the semifinal games, the ones regarding South Florida teams, since this is the South Florida recruiting report here.
yeah.
So first off, Trinity Christian against Chaminade. Who do you like and why?
Well, I like Chaminade. I mean, this is and I know that's kind of like a whoa. Don't go too crazy on that one.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
go out on a limb there, Andy.
yeah, I know. I'm like, hey guys, this is a spoiler alert. I think Chaminade may win it all. Um, I mean, this is a rematch from last year. They played each other. Um, I mean, from hearing from people that were at that game last year, I mean, Trinity Christian played him a lot tougher than I think folks would have expected. I think this could kind of play out like the True North game, like a 35-14 type game. I don't think they just blow them out of the water. I mean, sounds like there's a little bit of I don't know if I want to use turmoil or just friction going on at Chaminade. I've heard some murmurs of staff shakeup, and when you hear that's going on during the playoffs, to me that's kind of odd timing. But I mean, obviously, it hasn't really impacted them. I mean, they're kind of going about business as usual. But we know early, during the regular season, they did part ways with longtime assistant. That was also, their offensive coordinator. So it's not like there isn't any evidence that Coach Damian Jones isn't willing to kind of shake things up, but kind of odd timing when you're looking at the success they're having in the playoffs. They're, kind of easily getting by teams. So you got to think, is this something to kind of monitor once the season's over? Because I still think they're going to win it all in 1A, but kind of definitely interested to see what happens at Chaminade after the season.
For sure. Definitely interested to see that. I'm with you. I think Chaminade takes down Trinity Christian. Trinity Christian, the last team to beat Chaminade in a state championship game, by the way, a few years back. Next up, I got American Heritage and Choctawachi. Choctawachi.
Choctawachi.
Who do you like there?
Man, this is one of those semifinals that I feel like honestly it's the most intriguing. Like I'd say the other one's probably West Boca, Raton, and Armwood. I think this is the other one that's like, man, because you got to think they're going from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Fort Walton Beach. If you don't know what kind of drive that is, I mean, I live over near Tampa, and it would take me probably 6.5 to 7 to get there.
Hmm.
And I live 4 hours away from Fort Lauderdale. So we're talking minimum. And this is if the charter bus drivers are hauling like a 12-hour trip. I mean, I'm sure it'd take longer because, Coach Smith is probably going to want to stop at the some restaurant. I was about to say Golden Corral, but I hope he wouldn't do that to his guys. Just, yeah, it's gonna
I
be.
like Golden Corral, man. It's pretty
I
decent.
don't know. I don't have good memories of eating Golden Corral and then playing at a football game. I feel like it, it's it's definitely ingredients to like getting your butt whooped. I've never had a meal at Golden Corral and went and played a good football game. Like I've eaten at Golden Corral and then I play. The team played the way I felt, which was like crap. So yeah, I mean, maybe I need to eat it and not play in a game. Maybe I'd be like, I just feel like crap, but at least I'm not going to lose. Except with, you know, maybe with a visit to the restroom. But yeah, I feel like, man, hate to give any bulletin board to either team. I mean, I know Choctawachi's been seeing kind of the predictions that are put out there. I mean, I didn't have them beating St. Augustine, so I'm not even
Neither
somebody.
did I.
Yeah, I was surprised they went over and beat St. Augustine. So got to go with the team that they've been here to this point. You got a quarterback in Leon Strotter who's won a state title.
Experienced guy.
Yeah, you got to go with the experience. I mean, but I'll I'll kind of on the flip end say I wouldn't be surprised if later on Friday night we hear that Choctaw pulled this off, which to me would bring some parity to high school football in Florida. To me, the dream matchup would actually be if Choctaw faced Port Charlotte. How crazy would that be?
That'd be
Uh,
nuts.
yeah, because now you're like, there's no American Heritage, there's no Jones, even though that's what I predicted from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're gonna have this rematch, but instead you get this totally different matchup, which honestly I think would be cool. I think that'd be cool for Florida high school football.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be a very, very intriguing matchup. I'm going to run through a couple of matchups. I'm pretty sure that you're going to pick the favorite here.
Oh yeah,
Northwestern Bishop Moore. I'm pretty much, I think we're both in agreement that Northwestern is going to take down Bishop Moore, right?
yeah. I don't even think this requires much thinking, and if it does for somebody, I think it's because you're overthinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also St. Thomas Aquinas in Riverdale. There's no need to really kind of overthink this one either. I think St. Thomas cruises to another state title championship game.
Yeah, that one requires even less thinking than the previous one. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Riverdale folk. You guys did upset Manatee. I will give you that. I will say that was a nice job. The upsets ended at St. Thomas Aquinas. There is no upset happening.
yeah, absolutely. So the interesting matchups is you referred to it earlier, Vero Beach and Palmetto. Palmetto, a bit of a surprise this year, just kind of how well they played. Vero Beach, I think we kind of expected Vero Beach to have a strong team. Maybe not with Ephraim White at the helm, uh, but
Right.
they also look very, very strong here. Um, I think this would be first time for either team making this state title game. Whoever wins this game, you would probably know more than me, but I don't. remember either team ever making the state title game. Who do you like here, though?
Um, well, to that first part of it, I believe it'd be Miami Palmetto's first visit. I believe Vero Beach has been to a state title game before. Don't have exactly what year, but who do I like in this game? I feel like Vero's just been finding ways to, and not finding ways like they're barely winning. I mean, they're finding ways and dominating. I mean, it's not. I think every time people think they're about to get challenged, it's like they answer the bell. I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was O'Galley, and followed it with a nice win on the road against Buchholz in Gainesville. Beat Coco for however you view that this year compared to in the past. Um, and then they got some nice wins along the way. I guess the thing I'd be worried about with them is how much of it they've been actually challenged over the last few weeks compared to early in the season. Like I think that Miami Palmetto is a team that you look at kind of the uh, totality of their schedule, and you're like, I mean, they've played Miami Southridge, Columbus multiple times, Northwestern, Bishop Verot. They've I I think one could argue Palmetto's had a tougher schedule overall, top to bottom. Um, I mean, coming off of that, just absolute scoring fest against Goldman, coming away with a 65-41 win. I mean, their offense is obviously playing really well. Um, I expect this one to be high scoring. I'd be surprised if either team won by multiple like in double digits. I just feel like this is Vero's kind of. It seems like it's been destiny with the way Ephraim White's been leading this team. But it's something I have heard from people that that they're over in that area of Vero Beach are kind of like, this team's been on the cusp in the past, and they've found ways to kind of, I don't want to say choke, but that seems like the word, right? Like kind of choke on the big stage. So, and all the pressure's on Vero Beach. I don't think the pressure's on Miami Palmetto, because how many people had them being in this spot? Because I think a lot of people were thinking Columbus or somebody else that wasn't Miami Palmetto. So Miami Palmetto, they can go into this game kind of pressure's off. Like if you win, what a surprise, and if you lose, well, people are like, hey, great run.
Right, exactly. They're in a win-win situation. So it's kind of weird to say that for a playoff uh, team, but they are in a win-win situation because I think they're totally overachieving. Caden Howard is a talent that I really like out of Miami Palmetto, and he could help lead that team to a victory. But I'm with you. I think Vero Beach. Feels like Vero Beach's year, although they'll probably play a strong Venice team in the state title game. It definitely feels like it could be Vero Beach's year. So next game I want to talk about is West Boca and Armwood. This is an intriguing matchup right here, man. West Boca has been pretty decent. I really like, of course, the Miami commit, Javion Mallory. I'm gonna play highlights of him from his junior year, actually. Right now, they've been pretty consistent, I would say, this season. Uh, their only losses were to two state semifinalists in Chaminade and Cardinal Newman. But other than that, they've been pretty strong. But Armwood has probably been even more consistent. They're undefeated going into this game. Who do you like?
Well, something I pointed out to somebody earlier this week when it comes to Armwood, they have only allowed 7 points, 7 points since September 26th.
Wow.
September 26th, they've allowed a touchdown. And then they've outscored the opposition, I want to say probably over 200-7 in wins against Plant, Sickles, Steinbrenner, Wharton, Riverview, Melbourne, Vieira, and then Southlake. I mean, this entire playoff run, they haven't allowed a point.
Wow.
And when I saw them against Tampa Bay Tech back on September 5th, which, they only allowed 7 points. The most points they've allowed were in the first two games of the season. They allowed 35 points in the first two games against Gaither and Sumner. And since August 29th, Armwood has only allowed 23 points, period. So, uh, to me, seeing Armwood's defense and then seeing all the teams I've seen, not just Florida, but everywhere, I don't feel like I'm going out on a limb with saying this might be one of the most talented defensive units in the country. I don't
Mm,
think I'm going out on a limb and saying that. And I know West Boca's like, we got a really good, defense too. They do. I feel like the talent for them is in their front seven. I think they have one of the better defensive lines around. But I'm talking top to bottom for Armwood. Their defenses. I mean, you got your entire secondaries committed to a Division I school. You got Jalen Waters, Miami commit. You got Demonte Timms, Indiana commit. Uh, Kalen Martinez, safety. He was, committed, and he's, he was committed to UConn. He decommitted, so now he's kind of reopened his options. You got Larry Warren, a Wake Forest commit. Then you got Theo Wilson, who's absolute stud
yeah,
at linebacker for them, and it, their just entire defense is kind of unfair, and I think that defense paired up against what West Boca is going to lean on is obviously Mallory. And
yeah,
not anything against Trey Moran and the offense, the rest of the offense, but I think Mallory's going to get a nice workload against the
sure.
Hawks. I think it's going to be. I think this is going to be low scoring. I think Armwood's going to come away with the win, though. I feel like this game is totally catered to what Armwood would like it to be, and that is a knockdown, drag it out, defensive slugfest. And I think if you invite them to a party like that, they're gonna not only crash it, but they're gonna make you wish you didn't, get into that kind of game with them. So I don't think this is and I kind of compare this to maybe like they played Bergen Catholic, West Boca did during the season. And I would say that was probably one of the top defenses, other than Cardinal Newman, that they've faced this season. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Armwood in this one.
Yeah, I mean, me being a South Florida guy, I feel almost obligated to choose the South Florida team, but I've seen West Boca a couple of times this season, and I feel like they do depend on the running game a bit too much. Their passing game, I don't necessarily believe can will their team to a victory, so to speak. So if I'm a betting man, I go with Armwood, but I wouldn't doubt that West Boca somehow pulls this out. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think the Hawks kind of pulled this one out here. Last but not least, we've got West Broward and Buchholz. Another very interesting matchup. West Broward, somewhat of a surprise here, pulled off the upset against South Ridge last week, who I thought at the beginning of the season would be the state champion. So the fact that West Broward took them down was really impressive. Who do you think wins here?
It definitely has been a surprising run for West Broward, but in talking to our guys over there in the South Florida area, you included, kind of West Broward is a team that when everything's clicking, I mean, they can be as good as just about anybody. It's when a little bit of friction starts happening. It's like this team can also almost return into what is it, like a pumpkin, like they're not quite that team anymore, but they have the talent to win this game. It's just you think back of like long road trips. I mean, they went over to Camden County this year and up in Georgia, and they lost that game. Um, and to me, like this is what the playoffs bring. Like you gotta pack up and go on the road. Um, and to me, going and losing to Camden County. I mean, I'm not sure Camden County's even as good as Buchholz. I don't believe so. Um, and West Broward lost that game by like 20. So now you got to go to Gainesville. Got to imagine going to be a nice crowd at Citizens Field. Um, I mean, that was the last time they even left the area. Really, was that late August game. I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
Buchholz. I think it seems like this is they're just like Vero Beach. Like they've been biding their time. They've been kind of getting closer and closer to being you know on the precipice of reaching a state title game, and I think they get there. I think they get there, and they'll face Armwood.
yeah. Watching highlights of Amir Sears, a talented two-way athlete out of West Broward, certainly one of the big reasons why West Broward in the state title game. Uh, Overall, I think they're a really talented team, but I'm not sure. This one is a total toss-up for me. I'm not sure it, and when it is a toss-up for me, being a South Florida guy, once again, I'm going to go with South Florida team here, West Broward, and just kind of say that they will defeat them. It just sounds weird, though, just to say West Broward, because that's a team that has had, they don't have any type of history when it comes to winning
Right.
big games in the playoffs or whatnot. So it's definitely an anomaly in a sense. But I do believe they have what it takes to beat Buchholz. But we'll see how it all plays out. Should be so interesting. I'm so excited, man, for this weekend. I'm excited for National Signing Day as well. I think there's going to be a ton of action as there has been in these past couple of days, and I expect that to continue tomorrow. I think there are going to be a few surprises here, and flips as well. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. Where are you going to be on Friday night?
Well, I've tossed around some ideas. I mean, that Armwood West Boca game is one. I've even thought about maybe trying to go and see this American Heritage Choctaw game. I think those are your two best games in the state, to be quite honest. So, um, kind of toying around with some ideas right now for Friday, but I would say it'll be between either of those games, West Boca Armwood or the Choctaw American Heritage game. Only because on Friday there, it could be an Alabama high school state championship game I really want to go see because something I've been posting a lot over at least probably 3 or 4 times over the last few days. A polarizing figure in high school football, Rush Probst. Don't know if you're somebody that's my age, which I'm 37. When I was in high school, he was the star of MTV's Two A Days. That was a show that I watched and got to hear him, you know, rip into the kids at Hoover High School, and I was like, man, this is how Alabama. Wow, my Southern twang almost came out. Alabama high school football. That's how it. That's how it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of want to catch that, and then that game's at 2 o'clock. He's coaching a team called Coosa Christian up there, and he hasn't been in a state championship game since I believe 2018 when he was at Colquitt County in Georgia, and his name's just I don't know synonymous with controversy on the high school football level. I mean, because he's almost the epitome of like you you want to win, I mean, you hire him and you kind of, I guess if you're a school, you just let him do what he does, and you just, he's had allegations in the past of cheating,
Hmm.
or recruiting and things like that. But I think for every time something like that happens, that's alleged, or and he gets dismissed or something happens to where he's gone, it's like he pops up somewhere else and he wins.
Yeah.
So this time, no different. So yeah, those are a couple Florida games though I'm thinking about being at. And Thursday night, I may pop out to the Villages and see Dr. Joaquin Garcia play Tate out of the Panhandle.
Okay.
Kind of interested to see the dynamic with this new fit tournament that the FHSA has rolled out. It's a tournament that if you didn't make the playoffs, well, here's another playoff we're gonna put together, and you can be in that. So
Yeah.
I want
It's kind of like the NIT, but it's called FIT.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to that as well. For me, just being down here in South Florida, I've got three options here. I've got Chaminade Trinity Christian, which should be a decent game, but like we said, I think we expect Chaminade to pull away probably in the second half. Northwestern Bishop Moore, for recruiting purposes, there's definitely a ton of guys I would like to talk to after the game, so I likely probably will be at that game. St. Thomas and Riverdale. Man, I don't want to see a massacre, I'll definitely I've seen St. Thomas plenty of times this season, so I think I could skip maybe this game and just see them at the state championships. And then there's that Vero Beach Palmetto game, which is probably going to be the best game I think
For
of,
sure.
of the ones that I mentioned that are in South Florida, even though Vero Beach is not really South Florida. So those are my three options, but I'll likely be at Northwestern Bishop Moore and just watch, Nick Lanier and Neiman Lawrence and Calvin Russell do their thing against Bishop Moore more than likely.
Well, yeah. I mean, of the South Florida games, yeah, I would. The ones that are like actually down between Broward and Dade, yeah, I would say that one is probably without a doubt the best one. Yeah, that Aquinas Riverdale one, it is really hard for me not to see that one just turning into a running
Running
clock.
clock. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, apologies to Riverdale. But, we have seen what St. Thomas has done over the past 30 years. And it seems pretty consistent. So we expect them to kind of roll into the state championship. Andy, thank you once again for joining me. We clocked in another hour, my guy. Sorry. I promise you, the next time I have you on here, I won't have you as long. It's just so much going on. But then I definitely appreciate the time, Andy. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you at the state championships.
absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for joining me once again. And that is going to wrap it up for the South Florida Recruiting Report. Marcus Benjamin here, representing for Rivals.com. Make sure you tune in to Rivals.com and on 3 for all the news regarding National Signing Day tomorrow, and also just the South Florida recruits and the Florida recruits overall here in the Sunshine State. Until the next episode.